Wake up! It's not 2013 anymore. You're welcome for the wake-up call if you just realize I can do basic math on years. If you're the AC, then sorry. I don't know what it's it's hot as f, man. It is hot as anyway, I gotta take a shit. So, by the time this uploads, it should be my birthday, or at least around there. Probably be after, considering how long it takes to edit this stuff. I will be 21 years of age this year, which is pretty wild to think about. I'll get to drink legally. I'll get to drive safely. I'll get to gamble in states that allow addicts to roam freely. No phone in sight. Just fun times. So why am I just talking about 10 years ago when I could be talking about what happened 21 years ago, or a rundown of when I was born to now? Well, for one, that'd be a super long timeline, and I don't know what eventful stuff I'd talk about, to be honest. I mean, I almost drowned at the beach when I was little, but then again, who hasn't? I'm just gonna do 10 years because it's a nice even number, and because I just finished Stone Ocean, so it gives me a nice jump start for this video. Maybe I'll follow it up with 5 years too, because music-wise, oh, that was a year. That 5 years ago was a time. Okay, let's see what I can ramble on that happened a decade ago. I don't know if I'm gonna go chronologically and make a timeline from January to December, but yeah, I probably won't. Damn, one thing's for certain is my hair is definitely longer than 10 years ago. This isn't no we didn't start the fire. I'm not gonna run down everything from beginning to end, but okay, wait. That Fallout Boy, what was it? Recreation of that song? That's all I'm gonna say. I won't comment any further on that. Actually, no, here are these lyrics. That is all I will say. I'm just gonna ramble about a couple things that make up my entire personality. Anime, video games, music. Then again, that's all a human really needs, right? Sure, I could talk about real life events like Obama's second term starting, or that bomb that happened in Boston. But I don't really want to talk about that for obvious reasons. Sure, Obama is cool and all, but he didn't impact shit for 12-year-old me, that's for sure. All he did was just talk about stuff 12-year-old me did not want to hear. Oh, and stuff about school lunches, that was whack. But other than that, I let the adults handle that shit at the time. And as an adult now, it looks like adults can't handle shit when it comes to these types of things. Anyway, so the first thing I want to ramble about is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because that's what sparked this video idea. I finished Stone Ocean, like I said, and it was great. The last batch of episodes, they were the usual chase the main villain down and fight his side characters on the way. But the main villain, shit was intense. And it takes place in Florida. And from what we know, those Florida men do not play around. Those Florida men don't play around. And the ending was really bittersweet too. I feel really bad for Imperio, and that's all I'm gonna say. If you ever plan to watch JoJo. Then again, it took me all this time to finish part 6, and that shit dropped many months ago. Shows how late I am to everything. Then again, in general, I'm gonna be talking about how late I am to the party, because most of the stuff I'm gonna talk about in this video, I didn't get into them until later, after the fact that they aired or dropped or whatever. Like, I didn't get into JoJo till like late 2019. For those who know, when did the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime start airing? That's right, 2012. Oh, blah blah blah. Why are you covering this if this was 11 years ago? Because we make exceptions here on the channel, and I'd like to have a shorter title for once. So yeah, by the time I've gotten into the series, part 5 was already finished. And this part 6, is technically the last part of this universe. Like, yeah, there's part 7 and part 8 and part 9, which is happening currently. Hopefully I read through those parts before I'm in my 50s. But those parts are not a part of these parts, if you get what I'm saying. Same series, different universes. Think of the Spider-Verse and the MCU if they were good. I'm kidding, by the way. Spider-Verse was pretty good. And Marvel, you know, Marvel's Marvel, I guess. That's That's the best way I can put it. So yeah, I only got into the series like around 4 years ago. Imagine how it must feel for someone who started watching since the beginning. Or someone who's been reading the manga since fucking 1987. Bet it must feel old, huh? Seeing a manga universe you've been following for years, decades even, finally come to a close and now you're all sad looking because the ending was so fucking good and now you have nothing else to look forward to. Definitely not projecting, by the way. But yeah, JoJo's amazing. I like Jotaro specifically because he hates women. That was a joke, by the way. He hates everyone. Almost everyone. I love women. This show is so funny, man. This show is so funny, man. Oh wait, you do have something to look forward to, which brings me to my next topic, Attack on Titan, which ends later this year, at least for the anime. The anime is finally ending after a decade-long runtime. Basically, most of what I said for JoJo can be applied here, except I've actually known the ending for a couple of years now because I just had to read the manga because I could. Honestly, I could not wait that long for the ending, for me to see the ending without getting spoiled. Because if you've been on YouTube and you look up anime stuff related to an anime you're currently watching, you're gonna get recommended something that looks like a spoiler. And I did not want to see how it ended through a YouTube recommendation. But like I said before, I have not been watching the anime since the beginning. I started watching that in like 2020. Man, 2020. Pandemic really turned me into an anime connoisseur. Basically a week. Anyway, I bet those guys are also feeling really old now that they finally get to see how this boy turned into this monstrosity and how he turned into this. But what I really care about is how she turned into this. God damn! God! Anyway, Attack on Titan and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure have been two anime that have been a staple of long tenured characters or universes that have been there throughout the years, which helps because I've heard some conversation about these two motherfuckers as they were airing. Because for one, JoJo memes has been prevalent in internet culture since the dawn of time. And two, AOT has been one of the hottest animes ever from what I can recall. Like, I wasn't into anime a decade ago because I was a real 12-year-old, alright? I was too busy playing Call of Duty hearing the most heinous shit possible at the time. I didn't have time for this whack-ass Japanese shit. And now it's the opposite. How ironic. But I wouldn't be surprised if I can recall overhearing conversations about Attack on Titan in middle school and into high school. And now here I am in college, waiting to see the final season get animated and finally close the story. Like, Jesus Christ, there have been so many start and stop points for a final season. We have been in the final season since I started college, and when this episode eventually airs, my ass is almost out the door. I already graduated. You can live through anything if magic, right? That's how it went, right? Till I get my money right. It's, you know that lyric. But yeah, Attack on Titan I like a lot. JoJo I love. It's definitely my favorite right now, and that could also be recency bias, but it's whatever. Really wish Netflix didn't do that weird batch drop shit for part 6, but whatever. Fuckers ruined all the hype. That's why it took me so long to get around to finishing it, because the way they dropped it was so irritating. JoJo Fridays would have been way more lit to witness in real time, but what's done is done, and at least the anime itself delivered. But yeah, Attack on Titan, JoJo. Basic picks, I know, but simply put, JoJo is peak fiction. Time to finish Mob Psycho and start Hell's Paradise and catch up with Jujutsu Kaisen. Anyway, let's move on. There are a few video games I want to highlight from 10 years ago that I can say I was there for from the beginning. Those two being Black Ops 2 and GTA 5. Should a 12-year-old really be playing these games at their age? Probably not. But it's better than looking at an iPad all day, looking at TikToks. Am I right? Early 2000 kids? Am I right? Oh, but didn't BO2 come out in 2012? Yeah, shut up, alright? I'm making another exception. Plus, Black Ops 2 relates to what I'm gonna say next because a certain DLC pack released near this day a decade ago. If you were there back in the day, you would know that one of the best zombies maps dropped back in 2013. talking about motherfucking Origins. It actually released on my birthday a decade ago. Yeah, that's when my birthday is. Hopefully the day of upload isn't far apart from there. Or, well, it dropped back in 2013 for the Xbox. Because, I don't know, they did the DLC weird where it's... They did the DLC weird where it's Xbox and then PlayStation got their deal where PlayStation got DLC for... it's weird, I don't know. But anyway, Origins released a decade ago on my birthday. So, obviously I was one of those guys that played it with my buddies day one, right? No. I didn't have enough Microsoft points. Yeah. Remember those? Remember Microsoft points? I didn't have enough Microsoft points to get the DLC, and my parents didn't want to get it for me, so guess what? I was late to the party! I honestly don't remember when I first played Origins, but I remember the hype being so fucking real around the time it came out. If you saw this Vanoss video, the one where they built all the staffs and shot it at the ground, I'll tell you, that was one of my favorite videos ever at the time. It might be an all-time Vanoss moment for me, honestly. Like, the Avenged Sevenfold intro, return of the characters, although not exact. The ability to have staffs and the MP40? Whew. Even in general, the hype around Black Ops 2 was amazing in elementary school. That sounds really bad when you say it out loud, but I'ma just say, most of the boys I played with at the time haven't turned into complete psychopaths, alright? We made it out great, alright? Blame your parents if you didn't, alright? That ain't on me. That ain't on me, man. In elementary school, just talking about the game in general and DLCs coming soon, God. I'm having a nostalgia attack. Like, a couple months ago, when I heard that they fixed the servers, I felt like a rush of happiness. Like, damn, maybe I can go back and relive my childhood and go slightly positive and give the smoke to people with my Gold Remington and Diamond Peacemaker. Peacekeeper in multiplayer. God, I grinded the shit out of those SMGs, man. But then I saw FaZe Jem's video about how it's still hacked like crazy and it's still practically unplayable, so that was rough to hear. At least I can go back and replay the campaign. I never finished those on harder difficulties. And I also want to complete the Easter eggs again, because me and my friends were on a tear back in those days. Well, not the Black Ops 2 days, but more the BO3 Zombie Chronicles days. But when that came out, that's when I wanted to solve all that shit. But this isn't a video about 2017, so God, I need water. Huh. What happens if I just try manual focus? Let me see that real quick. But yeah, maybe one day I'll revisit those COD campaigns or the zombies maps. I like how I can spew all this about Black Ops 2, not the actual Call of Duty game that released in 2013, COD Ghosts. Well, looks like we don't have time for that COD right now. Let's talk about GTA 5. Holy crap, dude, that game is still going on. That thing has outlasted 3 generations of consoles. That's how long it's been alive for. I remember when my brother came home with it and put it in a 360 and waited for it to download. If you remember that process, that shit took forever, I'm not gonna lie. Still kinda does, but that depends on your device. But when you finally got to play it, I was watching from afar like, this is the greatest video game ever. It just looks so good for its time and whatnot. I mean, I played San Andreas when I was way younger. I know, looks really bad. And a little bit of GTA 4, but I'm pretty sure GTA 5 was the first one I had on my hands with a semi-functional brain to complete the actual story. And the gameplay mechanics of having 3 different characters to play that was pretty cool. You couldn't even play multiplayer for the first few months it was released. It was pretty funny. I do want to redo the single player though for nostalgia purposes, but I might do it on PC, and I don't know how multiplayer is there because who knows what kind of shit they got online through PC. Maybe I should just figure out how to set up my Xbox. Fuck, man. But playing around in multiplayer on the 360, especially in its beginning stages, was so different compared to what's happening now, obviously. I mean, I haven't played GTA Online in so long, but the last thing I remember is having bunkers, a giant laser, and the Oppressor Mark II. The biggest thing I was scared of was the lock-on buzzard and the tanky skull from... Skull. The biggest thing I was scared from was the lock-on buzzard and the tanky skull... Skull! Holy fuck! The biggest thing I was scared of back in the day was the lock-on buzzard and the tank you stole from fucking Fort Zancudo. Oh, and when you got a bounty on your head for stealing a car. Shit could have been like 9K max and dudes would rush over to get that shit. Even though $9,000 in modern GTA is like $2. Or even better, if you got one of those hacked bounties, you know, the ones that are like billions of dollars just randomly placed on your head. Or if you even just got a bunch of cash out of nowhere from a hacker. Those hackers were the real MVP of early GTA Online. Rockstar, don't come after me. I've never hacked the game, but when a broke boy is trying to make it in Los Santos, a dude has to try to get a bag from anyone, alright? That's just how it is. But yeah, that was fun. Now I barely hop in GTA 5 because I don't have it on Steam. Plus, I've already done everything I really wanted to do in online. Got a high enough level. I got a good amount of cars. Plus, all the new missions barely pay shit. I don't want to grind GTA Online missions. Are you kidding me? I got other shit to do. But yeah. That was a fun time. I totally need to talk about WWE 2K14. Cause yeah, why shouldn't I? Oh shit. Okay, I'll try to be quick about it because I feel like this will be a long video again. So when WWE 2K14 was about to come out, I didn't get WWE 13 because I didn't have the funds to get it, and my parents didn't feel like getting it for me. Which, in retrospect, it was probably for the better. WWE 13 was probably one of the more okay installments. I say that as we get the worst installment like a year later. But up till 13, which released in 2012 by the way. I don't know why sports games have done that, but I can probably just Google that later. But up till WWE 13, I pretty much own every game of theirs since then. Holy fuck, my throat is dry. Like SVR 2007, greatest game I've ever played, all the way up to WWE 12. Which I really liked. The story mode I really want to revisit. I really want to revisit these games just for the story mode. Oh, no. That's a lie. I really want to revisit these games, especially for the story mode. Whenever I get back my Xbox 360, because I had to sell it back in the day for the Xbox One. But yeah, broke the streak with 13. Then I wanted to buy 2K14 because I saw that trailer. I saw that trailer with Fall Out Boy on it. You know, the one with the Phoenix in the background. Yes, the first Fall Out Boy song I probably heard was that song, alright? Video games helped shape my taste when I was young. I think 2K16 was the first Panic song I heard too. Anyway, I'm getting too sidetracked. So I got 2K14 with my dad and I really liked it. The gameplay was good and the roster was stacked because of the whole, you know, 30 years of WrestleMania. Sure, it's just playing through something that already happened, but for someone who didn't know the history all that well at the time, it's pretty cool to see some old matches from the pay-per-view. I treated it like a little history lesson I can interact with, even if not everything was entirely accurate. But that defeat the streak mode, sheesh. That was probably one of the most challenging things I've ever did in my life until that point. Well, maybe besides doing my schoolwork, but anyway, playing as Goldberg, that shit was sick as fuck. Not gonna comment about that WrestleMania 20 match though. You can ask wrestling YouTubers about that. But yeah, it was a nice game to come back from after the gap year. Especially since the ones to come after weren't as fully fleshed out when they moved to, you know, the Xbox One and the PS4. I think they're just starting to get things right again. I don't know. I played 2K22, that was fun if you haven't seen my videos on it. I still have yet to play 2K23. It's kind of just sitting there right now on my computer. Oh, and I also have never played 2K19 or 2K20. It's a shame that I didn't play 2K19, but I dodged a fat bullet with 2K20. I'll tell you that. No 2K21, by the way, which is probably a good thing. But hopefully I can return to those old WWE games one day. Okay, done with gaming. Let's move on to music. Okay, hopefully I can just talk about 2 albums here, since I don't have all day, and I don't want to edit an hour of footage again, okay? That shit takes forever. And it did turn out to be an hour of footage. Fuck, man. Sure, I can talk about stuff on the radio like Blurred Lines or Radioactive or fucking Thrift Shop by Macklemore. But fuck that. I want to talk about real music. I want to talk about shit that's actually good and shit that I was, you guessed it, late to the party for. I'm gonna be talking about Wolf and Yeezus. But before I get into it, why those 2 albums? And why not something like Nothing Was the Same or Good Kid, Mad City? I don't know. I have more of a connection to Tyler and Kanye, I guess. Like, I have 2 vinyls from them. I have a video about my newly created vinyl collection on the way. So there's a little teaser about that. Those 2 albums do make an appearance. And that's also not to say that Yeezus and Wolf are better than Good Kid, Mad City. but I'm gonna be technical here and not include it because it came out in late 2012. I love making up bullshit rules that don't make sense at all. All of them are good albums though. Shout out to Moist Behavior, Tuscan Leather, Backstreet Freestyle, and Poetic Justice. So Wolf and Yeezus, I'm not gonna dive super deep into both of these like I usually would, but I would like to highlight them for a bit. Yeezus definitely has been brought up again with the release of Turvy Scooter's Utopia, which makes sense, but it shows how much longevity this album can have, even if it's generally considered lower on the Kanye tier list. But it's such a wild and chaotic album in Ye's discography, especially when it dropped at the time. I'm assuming at the time, if you were only accustomed to like 808s and before, unless you were already dabbling in the industrial experimental genre beforehand. But I'm just gonna assume that those watching aren't Fantanos. Sure, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was experimental, but it wasn't as noisy as Yeezus. It was not. If Yeezus was your first introduction to those type of music, you're probably scared shitless. Especially the intro track, On Sight, or those screams from I Am a God. Or crazy lyrics like chasing love, all the bittersweet hours lost, eating Asian pussy, all I need was sweet and sour sauce. Or I wanna fuck you hard in the sink. God. Ye was on a higher being for this album, man. You could play a priest in a Florida prison for sure. But yeah, once you get over your fear for the scary Yeezus music, there are some bangers such as On Sight, Black Skinhead, and more. But maybe I can dive into it another time whenever I go over Kanye's discography. But that's in the future. Kanye sure has changed over the years since Yeezus, like he does almost every year. But that album impact has been prevalent for someone like Travis, since, you know, he has producer credits on Yeezus. Is Yeezus solely the reason why Utopia happened? No, but you can't deny its similarities. There is no Travis Scott without Kanye West. There is no Rome without Kanye West. Man, if only I wasn't such a lame and kept up with Kanye West during the 2010s. But then again, my teenage self wouldn't be able to handle everything that happened with him in that decade. Hell, I can barely handle him in the 2020s. But hey, then again, he did make Bound 2, so who's really winning? Okay, now we move on to Wolf. So Wolf, when it came out, of course, he only had Goblin and Bastard. Back when OF stood for Odd Future. I also saw those shirts in Zoomies like years ago. I don't remember if they still have them up, but maybe I should have bought some. But then again, I was lame as fuck back in the day. Still am, but that's not the point. Wolf was probably considered his best album at that point. Can you believe he was bound to make even better music later on? Sure, unless Wolf is still your favorite Tyler album. Maybe you're into the more horrorcore, grimy, raw, and unfiltered, edgy attitude of the album compared to the more R&B, smoother, lo-fi, but still rapping type of Tyler we have now. But who doesn't love an artist with variety? Of course, it should be stated that this album probably can't be released in modern times. It probably can't be released in this current decade due to the certain language, but I mean, if we just kindly push that to the side for a bit, we get some bangers on here as well. Like Domo 23, I Fucking Hate You, Rusty, to name a few. It's still a pretty great album, and while it hasn't, you know, aged the best in regards to the vocabulary, I find some value in revisiting it. And plus, growing up in the 2000s, 2010s, a lot of shit was put out and said. It's not acceptable, but it was said. Hell, even people try to say shit nowadays, but you know, society has become more aware of these types of things, and you know, it can be pretty outdated and edgy people just trying to relive those 2016 and before days. But I'll just say, shit could get really wild openly the more decades you go back. But yeah, shout out to Wolf. It has a good amount of bright spots on there, edginess aside, and it's also really interesting to see where Tyler is now, how he's developed, and how much music he's put out to us consumers in the past 10 years, you know, from Cherry Bomb to Flower Boy to Igor to Call Me If You Get Lost to The Estate Sale, which is great. At least a banger on every one of those albums. Shout out to Smuckers. I guess you can say the same about how Kanye's been throughout the decade. Really gotta shout out those two for being as consistent as they could be for as long as they've been doing music. Well, more so Tyler, because he's the more consistent one. But yeah, he's been putting out stuff a lot, so I can't fault him too much, even if projects have been delayed and scrapped time after time after time. But what we have right now is great. Yay, take your time to make another great album. And shit, I don't know. Collab with Tyler again, I guess. Okay, that's my little spiel about shit that happened 10 years ago. If you're still stuck in that year, wake the fuck up. Please give me your Xbox 360 so I can go play Origins in town. Also, Kanye has not been elected president. And all the characters in your favorite anime die. Also, get a job or something, I guess. If you were 10 during 2013, you're probably getting forced to pay super high bills or some bullshit. And the summers are only getting hotter and hotter. Yeah, shit is rough out here, man. But hopefully we pull through. Hopefully we all make it through. Unless you were born in 2013, then get the fuck off that iPad and play chess or something, you little fucking short attention span little fuck. You little shits piss me the fuck off. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's all love. But get off TikTok, little bro. It is not good for you. Get off YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels too. But watch my shit though. I need internet points. Thank you. And I'll be here in another 10 years if we're still here. Fucking. I'll do an outro later. I need to go to class. God, fucking mic fell off and then I accidentally hit the head on the door. Sorry if it's out of tune, but whatever. God. I don't know how to do Black Skinner down the guitar. Whatever, what fucking ever, man.